welcome to another episode of Tyler's Weekly Rundown. This is my rundown for Week 6 in your favorite award show is back for another week. We'll start out with our Woo Award. The Woo Award is going to Red Zone Ronayne this week with 149.5 points. A couple more weeks like this away from really seeing that kiddo named Red Zone. I'm very excited. Our Oof Award this week is going to Miss Jemima, 81.5. We're just down in the cellar of Cheese South, me and Jemima. Our You Got Robbed of the week, Wayne's fantasy football team losing out to Red Zone Ronayne, scoring a respectable 126.62. Next up, our Laugher of the week, Birds of War over Linguini, perhaps the most unexpected result of the week. Linguini currently tops in the league in points. My Birds have had trouble getting it going. We're held together with duct tape. But we prevailed. I think that's just a sign of a very strong manager doing the most with the least. You know. Next up, our Nail Biter of the week. The Gasps. Pulling out a gasp of a victory over Game Plan McMahon by 9.94 points. Yeah, Thomas. Finally, our bonus stats of the week. A week after collecting their third You Got Robbed award, Game Plan McMahon loses in the Nail Biter of the week. One of the more snake-bitten fantasy football teams you will ever see, Game Plan McMahon, this year. Very impressive point total, but sitting at the bottom of Pickle East with a 1-5 record. This would just be a heartbreaking way to have to spin the wheel of despair at the end of the year with a team this solid. Next up, the New York Football Gordons remain undefeated, 6-0 on the year. Is it too early to talk undefeated season? This team just keeps consistently piling up points. I've been impressed with Mr. Gordon. Finally, not much of a stat, but this week I'm deeming it rivalry week. Only interdivisional matchups. There was a lot of competition for matchup of the week. I almost went with Birds versus Jemima to see who could climb out of the cellar of Cheese South. But the actual matchup of the week is going to be Wayne's fantasy football team and Game Plan McMahon. These are two very, very talented teams. I don't know if you've looked at Game Plan's roster recently. Like I said earlier, real miracle, they're only 1-5. Wayne's fantasy football team 4-2. But these are very similar quality teams, and I think it's going to be a great showdown in the Pickle East division. Alright, that's all I got for you this week. Yes, this is a Sean Couturier jersey. Thank you for noticing. Yeah, that's all I got. Bye.
Borger Nation, what's up, everybody? Very, very happy this week, actually, to introduce a new segment. This segment is going to be revolving in all things trade, insider deals, backroom deals, phone calls, questions, trading blogs, all that kind of stuff. And for this special segment, I'm very happy to introduce our own Jay Fox for his new segment, Fox in the hen house. Jay Fox, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing fantastic, Kamish. Thank you for having me on. All right, I'm going to get right into this. There hasn't been a lot of movement this year. Not a lot of trades going on, but two big people come out today, or this week. We got Stroud from Game Plan. Stroud is on the market. He's looking for a tier 1 or a tier 2 talent. That's running back or wide receiver. You've got him. Definitely want to hit up Game Plan right now. I don't know if it's going to turn it around for them. Their biggest problem this year, it's been luck. They've been scoring well, but sometimes they just don't get the W.
Lot of points against, Fox. You're right.
Ayahuasca's looking to up their rushing game. They're looking for any talent, anything that can kind of pick up the pace there. They could go to sacrifice some wide receivers. They've currently got Nakua on their bench. He's injured right now, but if you could, take him on, maybe wait it out a week or two, maybe a week or three, he's going to be a big addition. So, actually looking at red zone, Tyrone Tracy, PA's coming off a big week last week. Maybe the commission Gaffney can get together, make a deal.
Oof. Trade happened. Okay.
So we're going to move on. We're looking at highlight on the Taints right now. The Taints are hoarding tight ends and kickers. In fact, up until earlier this week, they had Andrews, Bowers, and Likely all sitting around. Likely left earlier this week. In terms of kickers, they've got Koo and Butker. Now, you probably don't want to pick up Butker. He's probably going to end up at a Stop the Steal rally in a couple months. Going to end up in jail. Hard to get on the board when you're sitting behind bars. They're looking for running backs. They've got Taylor's out at least another week, and they're going to need some support. If I'm the Taints, I'm looking to move Andrews. You got a tough week against the Gas this week, and a lot of teams need some tight end help. Second highlight, we're looking at the Birds. You got C-Mac still injured, Shaheed's still injured, and Chicago's off this week. That means Swift and Adunze are out. What he's got, however, is Goff sitting on the bench. Now, I know I said Jared Goff's maybe not the best quarterback for Borger, but he's coming off of 2 consecutive 30-point games. And the Vikings, they're playing the Lions this week. They've allowed the fewest rushing yards, second fewest rushing yards of any team in the NFL. That means Goff's probably going to get some action because Montgomery and Gibbs might not be getting into the end zone. If you're a manager with a weak QB, you might want to be looking to make a deal with the Birds right now. Now, final segment, biggest gamble. The Miami Dolphins. I don't know what the fuck to do with this team. You've got a bunch of talent there, a bunch of running backs, a bunch of wide receivers, but you got Tua. Tua's a ticking time bomb. He's going to get hit again. He's going to go down. I don't know what you're going to do. Right now, they have the fewest points in the NFL. They're behind the Jets and the Pats, even though they lead them in terms of record. But I don't know what you want to do. You hold these guys. I don't know. Here's the big problem. Big question mark, sorry. Trey Lance. There's talk on the street that Trey Lance, the third-string quarterback for Dallas, might be coming in to become an emergency quarterback when Tua inevitably goes down. Is that enough to turn it around for the Dolphins this year? I don't know. I don't know how much Waddle's going to be worth, or Achane, or any of these guys, if you got a team who can't find the end zone.
Yeah, wow, that's some great stuff, Fox. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, there's really something wrong in the world where you got fantasy manager owners reluctantly starting Tyreek Hill in a second flex position. So, right. Miami, you have a ton of talent there. What to do with that talent? That's interesting as hell. And thanks so much for these tips on these managers over here trying to get some things across, and movement. Anything else we got? Any more inside access, or we're all fleshed out this week, Jay?
I think that's all we got this week. I'll be sneaking into locker rooms and trying to get on the phone, get on the horn with some people, learn some more inside information this coming week. But right now, that's all I got. So back to you, Kamish.
Thanks again, Jay. Once again, that was Jay Fox for the first actual edition over here on Borger Brief of Fox in the Hen House. Thanks again, Jay. See you next week. How are we doing, Borger Nation? Welcome back to another installment of Sit Down with the Commish. We have a big get this week, and we're super pumped to share it with the audience over here. We can finally lift the curtain a little bit. Today, I'm joined by Jemima Redux. Mr. Joe Galarraga, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Happy to be on the show.
Yeah, but doing a little bit better than them O's. I'm sorry to see him go so early, but you're in full football mode now from what I've gathered.
Yeah, that's right. We got the Ravens and the Bills on, every game in this household over here. So those are the teams, and until they play each other. But that's already happened, and we know how that turned out. So
Do you know how that turned out? So look, we'll get right into it. I'll make sure we gloss past that in case any house, people in the house heard that one. All right. So number one, your team, okay, you guys have underachieved a bit this year. Would you say you were prepared for a rocky year, maybe from the start, or are you a bit more surprised to kind of find yourself down in Cheese's lower rankings after a year like last year? But generally, you're underachieving. That's not to say you can't get into the playoffs, can't make a run. But thoughts this far?
Well, I'll say that underachieving is really generous. The Jemima squad is not doing so hot for sure. I will say I am a little surprised. I thought I had drafted a pretty good team, probably more than any other year thus far. I put some thought into the strategy and really was kind of trying to build around a couple weapons.
Draft regret? As long as I got you on draft, we're here. Draft you just said you felt good about your draft. Any regrets at to this point? Just position or two?
Yeah, I think that probably there's two that feel a little egregious. I'd say that taking Caleb Williams in the 6th, that was a little bit of a panic draft for sure. I think I said this in the thread before, but I was just having so much fun at the Borgata. I saw quarterbacks starting to go, and I thought maybe I had another CJ Stroud on my hand. But that honor goes 2 years in a row to Phil, getting Jaden and has CJ Stroud. So keep your eyes on whoever Phil's drafting next year. That's a big takeaway. Anyhow, and then I think that probably taking Ezekiel Elliott in the 8th round, just really a little desperate for some running back action, and he's been released from the team at this point. So
Zeke is out on the market. I don't know if he actually found a home yet. I did see him out there in the free agent list here recently. So pretty underperforming year in general. You and the Gordons, all right, you made a trade this year. Wan'Dale Robinson for Zach Moss. Any regret? What are your thoughts over there in that Moss output so far, post-trade?
Well, I'm going to say that the Moss output thus far hasn't been ideal, but, we really only have one game here to kind of base that on. And more than anything, it's Jemima and the Gordons have a good thing going here. We like to trade. We like to shake things up. With 2 seasons in a row, we've made some deals, move some guys around, having a little fun. So no regrets, and happy to also send Wan'Dale to the rightful place on the New York Football Gordons. I think that's really complements the team just in general, and I have a pretty deep group of underachieving wide receivers, to be fair. But I was trying to just get a little something interesting going, and let's spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta really shake it up. You have a proven, trusted manager you like working with. Joe, what most tavern barfly do you most identify with?
I think it's got to be Homer.
The classic.
Dumb guy thinks he's smart.
Dumb guy thinks he's smart. Lovable dumb guy thinks he's smart. Also, last year we did have a segment called Defend This. I don't know if we're exactly bringing it back just yet, but I did have a question. September 18th, you added Antonio Gibson. You dropped Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce last week came back had a breakout week, 55-yard touchdown run. How we sitting with that transaction now? You thinking about maybe chugging along, seeing if Pierce still can make a play for Pierce on the market?
You know, I think that Pierce had an outlier game here. Has a lot of competition on that Houston running back depth chart. I don't miss him. You know, sometimes players have good games, and you think about what could have been, but especially with Ramondre Stevenson being injured, I think Antonio Gibson was a good pickup. We'll see if he can't get some more points for me, though, because I have certainly been losing. Yeah, I think that the other thing to consider there is that, like, the Houston Texans didn't really even believe in him. You know, they picked up Mixon. They're not really like putting a lot of stock in him. That's how I took that. So
That's actually, yeah, that's a very good point there, Joe. All right, Jemima. Jemima is an institution, man. You really put together a good team the past 3 seasons over here, and you know, I know you're having a little trouble now, but you know, the emphasis is always on trying to create a winner. So, you know, all things being said, you're sitting kind of near the bottom right now of Cheese South. But do you think Jemima has what it takes to maybe make a playoff run somehow? I mean, it is coming up on week 7. You would have to make a significant run, but that is not out of the question. 6 teams do make the playoffs.
You know, I think that there's a chance. I think that really relies on a few factors. We got to get Cooper Kupp back in the lineup. It's been out basically since week 2. Really kind of sealed the deal for me in week 1 in my only win. So I think that if we can get everybody healthy and just kind of get a little bit of luck on our side and go on a couple runs here, there's a chance. My schedule's looking a little tricky going forward, but yeah, I don't know. I don't want to rule anything out. That's for sure.
You're not counting yourself out. Can't. Absolutely. And look, you know, we saw a couple of episodes ago that big wheel of punishments. You know, I mean, this is something that every manager's got to take seriously too. I mean, what the hell? I'm going to look out there with no leg hair or something like that. You know, I'm trying my butt off too to make sure that doesn't happen. But you know, we endure. We move forward. This is Borger pros here. So look, I really want to thank you again for joining us today and stuff. And I got one more thing for you before we go, but I just wanted to say, you know, good luck to you and your squad the rest of the way out. And thanks for joining us here again today, you know, bud.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to this week's matchup with Birds of War. I think it's going to be a chance for me to turn it around here potentially.
Yeah. Birds of War is also past couple of weeks they've been showing us something a little bit too, so they may be making a run a little bit too. So that definitely gonna have my eyes on that one for sure.
I think it's gonna be a good matchup.
Beautiful. All right, so look, excluding yourself, we talked a lot about Jemima Redux, but what Borger Bowl prediction may you have if your team doesn't?
Well, I'm gonna go with probably answers that surprise no one, but the Gasps have been really good this year, as have the Football Gordons. I think that those are the 2 top teams for sure.
It's a week in a row, we're getting Gordon's Gasps. Yeah.
The standings don't lie. And you know, there's some pretty big separation this year too. We got some 5-1 teams and some unfortunate 1-5 teams that I'm a little too familiar with. So
yeah, game plan also is in that mix, and just you know, a lot of this league is putting together, getting the right matchups rather. You know, you put together a good team, but just to say that if you look at all of these matchups, all 6 games every week, we're always within 40 to 60% range on either side. We're always within 5-6 points of projected within either side. So there's a chance any week for any one of these 1-5 teams to start busting out, building out a couple of wins. And look, some of those mid-tier teams, including RZR right now, won the first 2, lost 3. finally back on winning, but that only puts us at 3-3. So you're a mid-tier, you're not sitting with the loveliest record even for those mid-tier teams, and they're very gettable for those lower ranked teams at the moment, at least,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta love a competitive league, that's for sure. If I was out here kicking ass, that'd be fun. But let's.
You have been, you
competitive.
have been, and you'll get back there again. This is the natural kind of motion of good teams, and just through the years over here in a tough league. But I do want to leave you with what manager out there. Obviously, we talked about Gordon's, and we spoke about Gas possibly being a Borger Bowl matchup. So would that lead me maybe to believe that one of those managers has impressed you maybe most this year, or just in a significant way? Who's making those moves that you're just like, dang, they got him. They squeaked it out again. They put this person in another good position. That's cool. I like what they're doing there. I like that style.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Jay here. I feel like seeing the gasps, and seeing specifically there was the last week some pretty nasty San Francisco 49ers stack that ended up getting a whole lot of points, and you gotta respect it. Those guys like to score, so put them out there. And yeah, once again, look at the matchup and you can kind of bank on some points there. So I think it's a good strategy.
They're
Gasp are a respectable squad. Love it.
Yeah, Gasp's always really one step ahead, it seems. Also, too, if you look at the transaction log, you always kind of notice Gasp stay low on the transactions. They're like lower. I'm not saying that but they basically deal with a lot of purpose. It takes them a while to make a decision about personnel, and they wind up taking those decisions, it seems, pretty seriously and not abundantly. So that's exciting to watch. Joe, I want to thank you again for joining us here today. Let's sit down with the commish, and hope you're enjoying this season for everything we got here. And best to you and yours, and catch up with you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Pleasure having you.